Right now, our light's shaking quite a bit here, and it's now calming down as another earthquake has just hit. I still hear a few lights rattling here in our studio.
Just about all of us felt Oklahoma's largest ever recorded earthquake last November.
Rocks was coming down.
But unless you live near the epicenter in Kreigel,
I was scared.
chances are you didn't have any damage. With so much seismic activity in the Sooner State in the past few years, we wanted to know what magnitude earthquake would be too much for Oklahoma's red dirt to handle. Seismologist Austin Holland has his theory.
A magnitude 7 earthquake will have widespread damage and quite a bit of catastrophic failure in older buildings.
The San Francisco Bay Area is all too familiar with earthquake destruction.
We have one woman who's unconscious, bleeding from the head.
I traveled to San Francisco.
Earthquakes aren't just restricted to California.
And asked David Schwartz with the U.S. Geological Survey,
It's very variable.
what's done to keep buildings standing?
This building has bolts going through it to hold the structure together. And that building has external bracing. This is the old Hayward City Hall. They've closed it down.
And evidence of earthquake damage
You can look in. The fault
is all around us.
is the yellow curve. Here are the cracks.
That's a pretty good gap.
If you look along the wall, you'll see how it curves. It curves because the fault goes right through it, and very, very slowly it's pulling it apart.
Most of the modern houses in Oklahoma.
John Osteros assesses the safety and damage of buildings after earthquakes all around the world. He was even called to Oklahoma City days after the Murrah bombing.
When they evacuated everybody else, I went in to make sure that everything was okay.
But he says if a strong earthquake shook Oklahoma City, he wouldn't want to be inside one of our buildings.
In a strong earthquake, a lot of the unreinforced masonry buildings, perhaps some of the precast buildings, will not perform so well. And I would expect to see some failures in those buildings.
But while most of the structures here in San Francisco, even the older ones like the Golden Gate Bridge, were built to withstand earthquakes, those in Oklahoma City weren't. Oklahoma City Plan Review Supervisor Jeff Hines says every new building must meet seismic code, but there isn't an inspector to make sure they're earthquake ready. The architect signs and seals the plans promising they have met code.
When they sign and seal plans, they put their credibility on their line, their license, and their liability.
Devon officials tell us the tower exceeds current seismic code and was built that way mostly for our high winds. Most of Oklahoma City's other high-rises were built before we knew earthquakes were such a threat. Osteros says it's not the skyscrapers we need to worry about.
For earthquakes in Oklahoma, we'd expect to see a higher frequency of vibration, which is going to affect low to mid-rise buildings, maybe up to 8 or 10 stories. Once you get above that, the building is so flexible that it really doesn't feel the vibrations.
Wrong direction, there's another car. Gosh!
And all our experts believe that magical 7 magnitude quake is a long way off from the Sooner State.
The large events are very unlikely events. They're much less likely than the magnitude 3s.
It's going to be a long night for a lot of people.
I don't think people in Oklahoma should fret about the big one.